Is this the dagger?
G'day guys, JB here, and we are 2 games down in the 2025 NBA Finals, and it looks like the series, well, doesn't look like, it is in fact the series, heading back to Indiana with a 1-1 split. A big win in Game 1 by the Pacers, but Game 2, certainly the tone was set all but in favour of the Oklahoma City Thunder, squaring the series away, really flexing their muscle and truly showing why they are a 68-win team and a team that is very much on pace to win 84 games and cement themselves as arguably one of the 5 best single-season teams of all time. Of course, that's only possible if they do win the championship, and it's certainly looking more and more likely now that they have that 1-1 split in the series. So let's get into the review of Game 2. Of course, Oklahoma City defeating Indiana 123-107, tying the series at 1 apiece, with a victorious Oklahoma City Thunder, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander leading the way, the MVP of the league, the scoring champion of the league. 34 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 steals and a block on 2 turnovers, 52.4 from the field, 25% from deep, 91.7 from the free throw line. They call Shai a free throw merchant. If you get there, though, you've got to make him, and that's exactly what he does. Alex Caruso, huge, 20 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist with 2 turnovers, 54.5 from the field, 50% from deep, and 100% from the line. Jalen Williams, 19, 5 and 5 to go with a steal and 2 turnovers. 35.7 from the field, not ideal. 27%, just 20% from deep, not ideal. It's the only thing letting Williams down from a really good series here. 88.9 from the stripe. And Aaron Wiggins, huge off the bench, just as crucial as Caruso in that sense. 18 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal to go with 1 turnover. 54.5% from the field, 62.5% from deep, 50% from the line. 5 players with 15 or more points in this contest for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Meanwhile, for Indiana, Tyrese Halliburton made up for a very slow 3 quarters, finished with 17, 3 and 6 to go with 2 steals and 2 blocks on 5 turnovers. Didn't really enforce himself on this game until the 4th quarter. 53.8% from the field, 35.7% from deep. Miles Turner, consistently the best player for the game. 16, 4 and 4 with 3 turnovers, 50% from the field, 20% from deep, 75% from the line. Pascal Siakam, 17 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists to go with 2 block shots and 2 turnovers, and certainly having one of his worst games for the postseason. 27.3% from the field, 25% from deep, and 88.9% from the free throw line. And when you look on the last line there, Ben Mathurin, the guy who's been a key rotation piece for them for a couple of seasons now. 14 points, 2 rebounds and an assist to go with 2 turnovers. 57.1% from the field, 50% from deep, and 71.4% from the free throw line. In the first quarter, Oklahoma City came out with the lead. They had a 6-point margin at the break, 26-20. Chet Holmgren, the best player on the floor in the first quarter, 9 points, 2 rebounds and a block, 4 or 5 shooting, 1 or 1 from deep. Really started to utilise his size. Shai, the league MVP, had a really nice start to the game. 6 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 or 5 shooting, 1 or 2 from deep, 1 or 2 from the line. And it was Nembhard for the Pacers, really controlling the game for them. 6 points, 1 rebound, 2 or 4 shooting, 1 or 2 from deep, and 1 or 2 from the line. Oklahoma City again with a hot start, but with efficiency proving key and lockdown defensive efforts forcing Indiana into tough shots. The Thunder were able to establish themselves very, very early. Despite this, Indiana was able to limit their turnovers, 3 for the first quarter compared to the 9 in the first term they had in Game 1. And they managed to keep pace for the most part. Efficiency proved the difference early as the Thunder were able to convert. And size also proved crucial as the active search to get the likes of Chet into the game proved pivotal. Distribution was up, more hands on the basketball, which only set the team up for more success as the game wore on. There were only 2 or 3 guys really controlling the offensive possession in Oklahoma City's Game 1. They really tried to change that up in Game 2, really wanted to make a point of that, and it proved pivotal. Heading into the second term at halftime, the Thunder had the lead, 59-41, and they managed to gain another 12 points on the Pacers, winning the quarter by 12. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander again stepping up, 9 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 2 steals and a block, 4 of 6 shooting from the field, 1-1 from the free throw line. Jalen Williams trying to step up where he could. His best quarter of the game, 9 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 of 6 shooting. Didn't make one from deep, but went perfect 3 of 3 from the stripe. And Aaron Wiggins stepping up again, the bench proving as pivotal as anything in this game for the Thunder. 8 points, 1 rebound, 1 steal, 3 or 4 shooting, including 2 or 3 from deep. It was another hot start for Oklahoma City. They had more efficiency and they were nullifying Tyrese Halliburton. That's essentially what the game gave Oklahoma City, that handy 8-point lead at the half. While SGA, Williams and Wiggins truly made their mark on the game, Halliburton, well, he was held to just 1 rebound and 1 shot attempt in the second quarter. Crucial in a real must-turnaround quarter to try and get things back to even in that halftime break. They just weren't able to do it. And again, when you've got a player as crucial and as ball dominant as Halliburton, you don't have him converting, you don't have him doing much else. The team struggling to get involved, easy way to run away with the game, and that's exactly what the Thunder did. As the second and third options failed to fire for Indiana, it was the Thunder raining down on the Pacers. They shot over 54% from the field for the quarter, and extended out as much as a 23-point lead. This is what it looks like to take on a 68-win juggernaut. You've got a team that was able to really run and gun with you there, albeit for 0.3 seconds in game one. You've got a team that's now going to slow you down, that's going to play at their pace. And when they get on a run, they're literally getting out and going 3-on-2, 2-on-1, 1-0, 2-0, fast break. That's what it looks like when you play a team this good. The Thunder surpassed their game one assist numbers by half-time, so they were clearly getting that ball movement, clearly getting it in the hands of people they needed to score the basketball. You know, that proved as crucial as anything in this game. And, you know, they held Indiana to under 35% from the floor, and they were making more than they missed. So they really locked in defensively. They really tuned in offensively. They slowed the game down to their pace. They played it on their terms. And there's no shock that they had that big 18-point lead at the half. I mentioned the 23 points there. The biggest turnaround in NBA Finals history, certainly in the last 50 years, has been the 2008 Celtics, who recovered from as much as 24 points down to beat the Lakers in that particular game of that series. In the first half, the Thunder had the lead in points, rebounds, assists, and they led the turnovers. They were plus 18 in points, plus 4 on the boards, plus 1 on dimes. They had one less turnover, but it was the shooting percentages that really helped. Plus 16.2 on the field goal percentage compared to Indiana. 5 more points better from deep and 17.9 points better from the free throw line. You know, that's a huge difference in efficiency. Getting the ball, scoring it effectively, not turning it over as much. Indiana didn't lead a single stat. They either equaled to a draw or simply were falling behind. It's as simple as that. Oklahoma City dominating the game. Now, the third term, OKC finished with a 19-point lead, 93-74. They won the quarter by a point. Shea with a big third term. They say it's the premiership quarter here in Australian sports, and I have no reason to believe in any other sport that the third quarter isn't the quarter that really wins you the game. 12 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists to go with 2 steals. He was 3 of 7 shooting from the field. Didn't make a deep ball, but did convert from the line. Had 3 trips there, went 6 of 6. Miles Turner, 10 points, 2 rebounds, an assist, 3 of 6 shooting, 1 or 2 from deep. And Neesmith, 9 points, 1 rebound, 3 from 4 from deep to get those 9 points. And although just 2 turnovers and 2 free throws separated the teams in the quarter, it was the best chance for Indiana to truly make a run and challenge OKC. And they were quelled by the player, the league's MVP. This is what it means to be an MVP. Everyone knows this is where Indiana throws absolutely everything at you. This is where they really started to make a run and really started to equalise the game in game 1. Yeah, they did that to an extent here in game 2, but they didn't peg anything back. When you go and look at what they were having to peg back, it wasn't going to happen. I mean, they cut the margin to, we're looking at a 19-point game here. So they didn't even really peg anything back. They actually had it extend. You would know in the first quarter they were blown out by 9 or 10 points in that first game. By 9 points in the first quarter, it was 6 in this one. Blown out by 12 in the second quarter, it was only 3, in contrast to game 1. And then in the third term here, they managed to square the ledger equal second, third quarters. Pacers couldn't do this here. They managed to concede more points. Again, big part of that, Shea scoring 12 of those points. You've got to be able to cut the snake off at the head to be able to really try and dominate a game here in the finals. Pacers couldn't do it. And again, it all comes back to they weren't winning on the glass. They weren't able to push the pace. And ultimately, the game was on the Thunder's terms. It's as simple as that. It also didn't help either. The Thunder delivered a 50-40-90 quarter on the scoreboard and limited the Pacers' best player once again. Ultimately, for Halliburton, he had just 1 made shot in the third term. So he's made 1 shot across 2 quarters. He hasn't had any impact on the game outside of that. which is really crucial. Again, you've cut off one of the best point guards, the best clutch shooter in the league, from having any impact on the game. Takes you a long way to winning it. Sometimes it's really simple, but it takes you a long way to winning a game. It's the ultimate swing for the Pacers, who needed to make serious ground and rattle the home side if they were any chance in the last. And they weren't able to do it. So the ultimate swing they needed to try and, peg that margin back to 10. And they couldn't do it. And the Thunder maintained a handy buffer. I mean, you've got to overcome huge deficits there in that fourth quarter if you're going to do it. You've basically got to rely on Oklahoma City essentially not turning up for you to do that in the way they were running that run there in the third quarter and the first 3 quarters of the game. So we head over to the fourth quarter. The Pacers did manage to get the win. They won the quarter by 3, but they were still soundly defeated, 123-107. Halliburton scored 12 of his 17 points in this quarter. He looked far more aggressive. He was clearly a different player, but it wasn't going to change the result of this game. It's really quite simple. Stat padding to an extent. If you wanted to really extend it to that pace, you could really say it was stat padding. The aggressiveness wasn't there. Now, you do have to give credit where it's due to OKC on the defensive end, because that was what was going to win them this game. A mastermind of defending Tyrese Halliburton and not getting anyone else involved. They did it really well. Fourth quarter for Halley, though, was nice. 12 points, 2 assists in the block, 2 turnovers, 5 or 6 shooting, 2 or 3 from deep. Mathurin, big once again, 8 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 2 or 3 shooting. Didn't make 1 from deep, but 4 or 5 of the line. And Shea, 2 or 3 shooting, 3 or 3 from the line, 7 points in the fourth quarter to go with a rebound and an assist. Again, another big push from Indiana, who were able to take the quarter and ultimately win the second half when you look at it by 2 points. That's the kind of second half they had. But their first half was so bad and the game was just so well controlled on Oklahoma City's end that they didn't really nullify what the Thunder were doing. They were just sort of able to add to what they were doing. Unlike Game 1, they weren't able to force Oklahoma City into an inefficient offensive game to force the comeback. And as the Thunder extended to as much as a 22-point lead in the fourth, Pacers called it a night, started getting minutes into the bench. Oklahoma City in the end did the same. There's no doubt that just how much work they put in compared to the Game 1 loss was a big reason that they weren't able to succumb in margin and really minimise their chances in this game. You do have to give credit to the Pacers, though. They did make it interesting for a few minutes here or there, but cold runs from key players early proved costly. We talked about it being one of Siakam's worst games in the playoffs. It was the same with Halliburton there. They're your 2 key ball users. Turner chipping in, doing his thing. Neesmith, Nemhard, Mathurin doing their thing, but you really need your leaders to stand up, and this is a prime example of what happens when they don't. Across the second half, Thunder managed to get, now this is just the second half only, they led on the boards, they led in steals, they led in turnovers, they shot better from deep, they shot better from the free throw line. Meanwhile, Indiana outscored them. They did distribute the ball a little bit better in the second half. They were better by over 10 points there in the field goal percentage and blocked more shots, but ultimately there was so much of a swing required in this game to even be competitive. There's no chance that was ever going to be close. For the game, the Thunder managed to lead, obviously, in points, 123-107. They won on the glass, 43-35. So again, we're talking about an Indiana team that had 67 boards. The Oklahoma City Thunder really just locked in defensively in this game. Steals 10-9, turnovers 13-15. Field goal percentage, it was affected in the second half, but they still effectively outscored the Pacers 48.8 to 45.1. They were better from deep, 38.9 to 35%, and from the free throw line, 87.9 to 73.1. I think it was only a 6 or 7 differential on free throw attempts. So again, it does come down to how crucial it is to deliver from the stripe. Points in the paint, real proof that they use their size, 42 to 34, and their bench points, massive production again. What you had from Obi Toppin was the equivalent of what you got from Caruso and Mathurin. What you got from Caruso in this game. So, really big ups there to Caruso. Just happened to have a much better leader on the floor ultimately. Indiana, they had more assists, 27 to 25, but you've only got to look at the huge numbers that have lifted there for OKC. More hands getting on the ball for scores. Passes leading to the open man is what that tells me. Blocks 6 to 4. Fast break points led at 9 to 4, but there's no double-digit fast break points. It's only a 5-point difference. In a game that was 16, 17 points. So they weren't able to get out and play that natural running game. Points off turnovers 17 to 14. Again, not a great contrast there by comparison. From start to finish, Oklahoma City set the tone, controlled the game, and never faltered until the result was in the bag. Not that you can say that very often when it comes to the Pacers in the postseason this year, but a lack of consistent performance from their number one ball user until the game was done ultimately resulted in a what if, particularly with lesser performances from their second and third options. The key to the victory for the Thunder was better ball movement, again, as we mentioned, more efficient scoring, we've mentioned, better use of their size, which was really crucial, and overall, as we pointed out with those fast break points, they slowed down the running game of Indiana to keep the game on their terms. They were more inclined to get out on a run on a genuine 2-on-1, 3-on-1, 3-on-2, 1-0, 2-0 fast break than they were to just try and go up and down the floor with the Pacers. Well, there you go. Doesn't get much easier than that. In the overall scheme of how the opening two games are played, you can genuinely make a case that the 1-1 result is fitting, but from the feel of game one in the way that it began to the feel of game two and the way it flowed, you make a very good case that the Thunder should be heading back to Indiana, leading this series 2-0. Nonetheless, the ability to keep the series split while demonstrating they are up for the fight, no matter the game style, is a credit to why they delivered a historical 68-point win season. There's a reason they were able to turn it off. There's a reason they were able to turn it on. There's a reason they could let teams in it, keep it close. It's also a big reason why they've got a differential of 12.6. Let's not get lost in all of that. Finally, Game 3, understandably, is crucial for both sides. If you're the Thunder, well, you've got to steal Game 3. You've got to make a point that you want this to be a gentleman's arrangement by the time you get home in Game 5. And for the Pacers, you have to force a split, but also be aware that the only way at this point that you're probably going to claim the Larry O'Brien trophy is you force it 7 games and you have to win Game 7 on the road. Ultimately, there's only one team right now that has shown that it can hang no matter the play style of the game, no matter what way it goes. For me, that's the Oklahoma City Thunder. Really, really simple. There's a reason they won 68 games. There's an 18-game difference in the regular season to these guys. It's evident. There's a reason for it. My Game 2 MVP would have been Game 1 had they had actually won the game, but my Game 2 MVP is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and my series MVP at this point is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Another 30-piece for the MVP, putting him ahead of both Michael Jordan and Allen Iverson, the most points scored through a debutante's first 2 NBA final games. Not bad. Shai continues to show that he's at the peak of his powers and not only getting better from a skill point, but a basketball IQ point as well. His legs looked lost at the end of Game 1, but the Thunder's ability to stop the run and gun of the Pacers in Game 2 clearly saw him deliver again and again in the second half from all areas of the floor. He remains on pace to be the 5th player to ever lead the league in scoring and win a championship in the same year, along with George Mikan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Michael Jordan and Shaquille O'Neal. And joining Abdul-Jabbar, Jordan and O'Neal, he would be the 4th MVP to achieve that feat along with the scoring title. Anyway, guys, that's been my review for Game 2 of the 2025 NBA Finals. The series is split 1-1, but you would have to say across 96 minutes of basketball, the best team in this series so far has, without question, been the Oklahoma City Thunder. Anyway, guys, that's been me. I'm out.